This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me is a certain heavyweight, Daniel Dubois, promoter Frank Warren, and trainer and manager Martin Bowers. How are we all? All good?
We're all good.
All good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. I think the first place to start is, Daniel, the current state of your eye. How is it?
It's fine. I've had the all clear from the doctors, so I'm just starting back training and looking to be out, just taking it easy for a few months, working on things in the gym, and then when we have a date confirmed, then we're ready to go.
Frank, every time I spoke to you kind of over the past few months about Daniel and getting him back out is always dependent on that eye. So from that being said, when are we looking for Daniel's return?
I think the end of May, early June, but we've got a couple of dates in mind. But end of May would be the ideal date for everybody.
Martin on board with that as well, yeah?
Yeah, perfect, yeah. May looks good. I mean, obviously I won't be training Dan, he's moved on. But again, this is all about Dan's career and not any individuals.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a brief while, but obviously this is the first time I spoke to you since the fight with Joe, Daniel, so do want to quickly reflect back upon it. When you look back at your preparation for that fight with Joyce, did it all go as expected, all was good?
Maybe a few things could have been better. Maybe I missed a few things, but I'm just gonna go back to the drawing board, as they say, and work on everything that, my weight to everything, my skills and everything. I've got to top up and get ready again.
Was there anything different in preparation for that fight compared to your other fights?
Well, maybe
It's a hotel, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Going in the pod and all that, it was a different experience.
Yeah, probably the last 4 or 5 days was a bit awkward, but up to that point I thought it was all good, and I think we ticked most of the boxes. I think we ticked all the boxes. I think we had good sparring, and if you look at the scorecards, Dan was in front. That's all you can do. You can't do no more than that.
But you know what? It doesn't matter what you say, what you do. It's yesterday. It's all over. All that matters now is the future, and that's what's got to be focused on. You learn from yesterday. How many times all of us sat here and said, "Oh, wish I'd have done this. Wish I'd have done that." Yeah. It's irrelevant. It's what you do now and what you do in the future that counts. So, that's the way forward. We had a meeting this morning. We've been talking about training and various other things, and I'm quite sure once everybody's had a chance to digest what we said and where we are, then we'll be making some announcements as a team on that.
Okay. Have you watched the fight back many times, Daniel?
A few times, yeah.
And as Martin said that he believed you was up, a couple of the judges I think believed you was up as well. How did you read it when watching it back?
It's a close fight, from what I remember. It was a close fight. Maybe rounds where some of them were even, some of them he won, some of them I won. It was close up until the 10th.
Martin, tactically on the night, what would you say went wrong for Daniel?
I would probably say when we got injured in the 3rd round, from then on, it changed the pattern of the fight. Obviously, Daniel had the bad eye, and his depth perception changed quite a lot, and he wasn't moving his head as much as he could have or should have. But listen, it's like everything. We can all analyse it, and we'll all be clever after the fact. At the end of the day, he got an injury, and he lost the fight. That's what it is. It's how we, like Frank just said, it's how we move on from here. And we're going to try and move on from here and get down the best matches moving forward and still get into that position. That's the job. Sometimes you have to wear 2 hats, and that's how it is today.
I can remember with Amir Khan when years ago when he fought Breeders' Prescott, and I did not want that fight. I had a big row, and I actually wrote to his dad, who insisted. They they appointed a new trainer. I never even heard of the guy who was training him at the time, and they insisted on this opponent. And cuts a long story short, we all know what happened. He got absolutely, and I knew at the weigh-in, you can sometimes get that feeling at the weigh-in. I just didn't feel right about it, and I should have put my foot down, and I didn't. But what happened afterwards? Within 2 fights, he fought and won a world title, and that's really what we got to look at. Is what we move on with. He's a young man. He's not some 30-year-old, 32-year-old guy who's he's not got
Shot
miles
ball.
on the clock,
Yeah.
has he? He's there to be done. And he's intelligent. He's a very intelligent fella, Daniel. And I think he'll learn from it. And we move on. And once some decisions are made, decisions are finalised, that will hopefully be the best for him. And moving forward, we'll all do what we've got to do in our respective roles. He's got his manager here. He's the fighter. His dad's here as well with him, and obviously me in picking the matches and guiding him.
That's it. Listen, losing one fight doesn't make you a bad fighter. In all fairness, it's experienced, and Dan was at the highest level that he'd boxed at. Obviously, so was Joe. They both put on a good performance, but there's always going to be one winner. There's 2 unbeaten records on the line there that night. And that's what happens. That's boxing.
And that's it. You can't, and I'll tell you something. At the end of the day, the fans were very, very entertained. If you look from a fan's perspective, it was a bloody good fight. We'd all like to see that rematch, wouldn't we, down the road? I certainly would. Yeah. As a fan, I'd like to see that fight again. So it's there to be done. And it's all about Daniel re-establishing himself, and he will do that. His boxing's been his life since he was a young boy. So he'll come through and do what he's got to do, and he's got a great team around him and advising him, and it'll be the best for him as always.
Yeah, listen, you don't become a bad fighter overnight.
Well, no, the greats of the game have all lost.
That's it. So. Listen, it's a learning curve. He's a baby still, and that's no disrespect to Daniel. He's sitting there, he's a big man, but. In boxing terms, he's a baby.
Martin, it's the first time I've spoke to you on camera as well since the fight. So I do want to ask about a point where the BT cameras picked up where you're saying this is the fight game. What was that about when you were telling Daniel?
Listen, we talk about great fighters, and we talk about what great fighters come through and the adversity, whether it be inside the ring or outside the ring. And most of the time, it's in both places. They have adversity going on outside the ring, and then you have your wars inside the ring. And that's the fight game, and that's what I was saying to Dan. We've talked about great fighters and how they become great fighters. And you only become a great fighter by having great opponents. Let's take nothing away from Joe. Joe's ticked all the boxes. Dan was in with a good opponent that night. He's in the fight game. This is it. This is where you've asked to be. This is where we've put you. That's, you've got a minute to get your point across, and sometimes you need a few trigger words. This is the fight game. This is it. All the boys go through that in the corner. They've all, but it's how you cope with that adversity and how you cope with what's going on. I mean, his mind's probably screaming at him he's hurt because of his eye, and we know he had a bad injury, but he coped with it. From 3 to 9, he was coping with it, but then it just got too much. There's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong in that. Pain's pain.
You can't. It's not UFC. You can't tap out.
Listen, you have the dentist touching your tooth, and then he says to you, "It'll be all right in a minute." You think, "Fuck that, mate. Stop." It's just it's human nature.
But as I keep saying, it's done.
It's done.
All of it is totally irrelevant to where we are.
Listen,
now,
it's history now. It's history. It's part of his history that he's going to put right. Yeah. And we can only get that put right by putting him in the right fights. Yeah. So our job now is as a team is to make sure we give him the right fights and do that. Listen, your ego or whatever you want to call it goes out of it. This is the fight game. He's got a career. We've got to make sure we do the best with that career. That's our job as well. Like I said, personally, I phoned Frank on the Monday and I said to Frank, it's the best I've ever seen Dan look. Yeah. But 4 days sitting in an hotel, stewing, maybe that took the boil off it. I took the edge off it. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Do you know what though? It's a horrible word, excuse, but it's a pointless.
We can't make no excuses. We lost.
Pointless exercise. On the night, the result went the way it went, and that's the end of it. You can't. I keep saying it. You can't change it. So move on.
That's it. We move on and we do the best job we can now.
Just to say something, Frank, when I had a smirk on my face, I think that might be picked up on the camera, so someone might think there's someone asleep in the office. just the noise on the camera. Someone might think
it's you. You're having a kip behind the camera.
Was it that boring then, what I said?
Wasn't me. Yeah. Listen, you guys have made it clear, move on, talk about the future. Just one last thing I do want to ask Daniel. Of course, there was a lot of talk after the fight about the ending. When you look back at it, no regrets, you made the right decision?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Well, if he hadn't done, he may be blind in one eye.
Listen, if he had done it, he would have pulled out at the end of that round. That was our shit or bust round. Listen, you have to have that sometimes in boxing. You know what I mean? That's the sport. The sport's brutal.
And at the end of the day, you know, it's his sight. And that's it.
That's it.
You know, I'd much rather him be sitting here now having this thing than rather than sitting here with a patch over his eye and he can't see out of one eye. He made the right decision. End of story. That's it.
And you were going to pull him out in the round
I'd
after
already
anyway.
said to Ray Ball, who works in the corner with me, I said, we've got 3 rounds left in the fight. As I stepped down from the ring, I said, we've got 3 rounds left in the fight. I said, we've got 1 round left in that eye. If he'd have gone out and had a fucking tremendous round, don't get me wrong, I'd have hit my words and let it carry on. But at that point in time, that's where I was. Listen, you can't make it up and change it. That's what I said.
And Daniel, obviously, through that decision, now you can not only get on with your career, but get everything back on track. I'm sure the hunger is burning more than ever. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I'd say definitely. I want it more than ever, and training harder and just dedicate myself more than I was maybe before the fight and put things right.
Obviously, that hunger comes from what you've always wanted to get to the top of the game.
Yeah.
Of course, after the fight, there was certain ex-fighters, fighters, promoters, etc., who criticised you heavily. Does that spur you on as well, or does that not really matter to you?
Of course it does. I want to prove them wrong and show the doubters they're wrong, they got it wrong, and I'm going to be back and stronger than ever.
But a lot of that was ill-informed anyway. You know, it's a knee-jerk thing. People say things without the benefit of the knowledge. And I've been guilty of that, by the way, in the past, so we all do it. But
with hindsight, you realise that sometimes, keep your gob shut.
And that's it.
Well, that's what you told me the week after.
I mean, there you go, listen. It's a brutal sport. People get hurt. We don't want them getting hurt, in a way that we could have protected them from. That's it.
So, Daniel, moving forward, obviously you split with Martin in a training capacity. He's still your manager.
Yeah.
Can you talk me through that decision, please?
Well, just
he'd had enough of me.
Do
you know what? I think there's something between them two, and I think that's it. I mean, with the greatest respect, that's between them two, and I don't think they're going to be, for whatever reason. I think it's.
Listen, we're still working together, and we're going to still carry on working together.
And
that's it.
As Martin said, he's his manager, and it's always got to be the best for Daniel, and that's the same as us. So that's what we're working for, the best, for him, and that's where we move it now.
And your training situation at the moment, what is that, Daniel?
I'm working with Jimmy Tibbs at the moment and waiting for his son Mark to come back after training with Billy Joe, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, so of course Mark will be away till around the first week of May when Billy has his fight. Yeah. So you're all comfortable at the moment with training with his dad, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Well, we've had a chat about training this morning, and the decision about the training will be made in the next few days or so. Yeah. We've had a chat.
Okay.
See where we go then.
And Frank, this is more of a question for the pair of you really. You said a May return. You're targeting. Opponent-wise, can you give us anything?
No, we're looking at a couple of guys. Once we made a decision between the team, we've got a list of fighters. Then we'll make our decision as to it. Be.
Do you know what kind of level? Can you give us a hint?
It'll be the level that suits. However, the position that we feel he's in. And he's only just got back in the gym. I think he's going to do a bit of sparring. You mentioned today, first bit of sparring. So let's see how it goes tomorrow. Sorry, and let's see how it goes.
Difficult to kind of pick an opponent or the level?
No, not really, because look, Dan was operating at a high level. There's loads of really good heavyweights out there. Let's be fair. It's probably, as I've said before, the boxing is probably the healthiest it's been in years. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean,
so we've got loads of opponents to pick from. We've got loads of opportunities, and there's loads of good fighters.
It was a close fight. 2 judges had him in front. It was what it was, and that was with a guy who's got a wealth of experience, silver medalist, who should have won the gold in the Olympics and so forth. And Joe's in a good position now, so he's in that. That's the level where he's at, and he's a young man, so he'll come on again.
And Daniel, what has been discussed about a potential opponent for May? You're all on board with?
Don't tell him.
No.
No, you're
keeping that related.
You're on board with what's been said, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good
date-wise,
to hear. So you're going to have your first spar tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah.
Could that be with Johnny Fisher?
We've moved around already, but with someone else.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So what have you done so far in the gym?
Well, just this is probably the first week of sparring for me. Tomorrow will really start, and I'll know where I am.
Taking over.
From there, just taking over.
I'm sure the first day that you got to have a little move around in the ring must have felt amazing. Though.
Yeah, very exhilarating, and it's the start of something new and something good.
And I bet for May as well, the excitement's there to get back in the ring properly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Once I'm in training, I'm feeling good. I'm ready for a fight, and I'll know.
And hopefully in May we can have. It depends what day you're going on May with Daniel, but we can have some fans back.
Well, it'll be towards the end of May if it's May. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We want fans in there. We want atmosphere, don't we? That's what everybody. Fighters rise to that. Sportsmen rise to having an audience and the crowd there, and
we've seen it with football. Haven't we?
Yeah, of course we have. Yeah.
So it's good to hear the Triple D charge is still on.
Yeah.
It is, and he had a bump in the road, and now get over that, and move forward.
Bump in the road against a very good fighter, obviously one of the best amateurs to come out of the country.
Yeah.
Now you share the ring with Joe, I'm sure there's a tremendous amount of respect from there, Daniel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. He's a good fighter, and we'll wish him luck, and he's a good.
We're working on his fight right now.
Listen, he's another British heavyweight. We want him to go forward for British boxing, don't we?
Yeah, if you want to ask me now.
He made some nice comments about himself. Obviously, as I said, there was a lot of criticism from people in the game, but he was one of the ones that come out and stuck by you and defended you. Did you see them comments from Joe?
No, I don't.
He essentially said that you're a very good fighter, you made the right call in what you did, and he's glad your health's okay, and he said you're going to get to the top of the game. So what do you think about them comments from Joe?
Yeah, it's good, inspiring words, and take it to heart and move forward.
Okay, before we close up, is there anything you guys would like to add?
No, all good.
No, all good. Yeah. Just looking forward to seeing back in action.
And announcing the opponent.
Yeah.
Well, just on that, actually, when do you think we can expect an announcement about the date?
I would think in the next 10 days, 2 weeks, that'll be it, I think.
So, opponent, date,
everything.
And also the training situation for this camp will all be revealed in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Martin Bowers, Frank Warren, Daniel Dubois, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV,
Lovely.
and we look forward to the May return.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Good man.